The warmth, the slight crunch, the way the peanut butter gets just soft enough to meet the jelly halfway. Okay, I'm done.
The peanut butter and jelly sandwich is the greatest invention in the history of human civilization. Not one of the greatest, not a contender, not up there. The greatest. Full stop, no asterisk, no footnote, no, well, you have to consider the context of the time. I have considered every context of every time, and I have arrived here, at this conclusion, with the calm certainty of someone who has done the math and checked it twice, and then checked it a third time just to be sure, and it came out the same all 3 times. The PB&J. I'm going to explain this to you now. Please keep up. For 6 million years, humanity ate sad food. Let me paint you a picture of the human diet before the peanut butter and jelly sandwich existed. Actually, let me paint you several pictures, spanning approximately 6 million years, because I want the full scope of what we were dealing with to land properly. 6 million years ago, your ancestor is eating raw tubers with dirt on them. This is breakfast, lunch, and dinner. There is no brunch. Brunch will not exist for approximately 5,999,000 years, and even then it will mostly be disappointing. 1 million years ago, humanity has discovered fire. Tremendous. Now your ancestor is eating slightly warm tubers with slightly less dirt on them. Progress, technically, spiritually, still bleak. 10,000 years ago, agriculture. Now we have grain, we have early bread, we have the building blocks of something. But here's the thing, nobody has combined anything yet. Early humans are eating their components separately, like a child who doesn't want their food to touch. Grain here, meat there, whatever a fig is over there. Nobody is putting things together and saying, what if this, but also this, but simultaneously. The concept of the combination food is in its infancy. Humanity is shuffling towards something, but doesn't know what. 2,000 years ago, the Romans have garum, which is fermented fish sauce, and they are putting it on everything. This is the wrong direction. This is civilization taking a wrong turn and driving into a ditch and then being weirdly proud of the ditch. The Romans built roads and aqueducts and a legal system and then poured fermented fish juice on their food and called it sophisticated. Something has gone terribly wrong. 150 years ago, we are getting closer. Peanut butter exists in early forms, jelly exists, bread exists and has existed for millennia. All the pieces are on the board. Humanity is literally within arm's reach of the greatest achievement in its history and doesn't know it. We are standing in the kitchen, ingredients right there in front of us, and we are ordering garum from the Romans instead. And then, 1901, Julia Davis Chandler publishes the first known recipe combining peanut butter and jelly on bread. The clouds part, the angels sing. 6 million years of sad tuber eating is retroactively redeemed. The PB&J has arrived, and humanity, finally, after all of it, all the dirt, all the raw meat, all the absolutely unhinged fish sauce, is okay.
What the PB&J actually is, which is a perfect object. I want to describe the PB&J to you as if you have never encountered one, because I think familiarity has made you numb to what you are actually holding when you hold one, and I need to fix that. You take bread, soft, pillowy, yielding bread that is itself already one of the great human achievements, and you spread on it peanut butter, which is a substance so remarkable that the fact that we are not more amazed by it every single day is evidence of a failure of human imagination. Peanut butter is a nut that has been ground into a paste that is simultaneously salty and rich and fatty and protein-dense and possessed of a texture that does something to the human mouth that scientists have not fully explained, and that I personally believe operates on a neurological level we have not yet mapped. Then you add jelly, sweet, bright, fruit-forward jelly, which provides a counterpoint to the peanut butter so perfect that if you described this flavor pairing to a professional chef, they would nod slowly and say, yes, of course, the fat and salt balanced by the sugar and acid, the textural contrast of the smooth against the yielding, and then charge you $47 for a deconstructed version at their restaurant. You put another piece of bread on top. That's it. That is the invention. 2 ingredients on bread, pressed together into a sandwich that takes 90 seconds to make and has been feeding humanity with the reliability and consistency of a Swiss watch ever since. It is a perfect object. It has no unnecessary components. It cannot be improved. It has been field tested by approximately 400 million American schoolchildren over the course of a century, and not one of them has ever looked at their PB&J and said, you know what this needs? Garum. Because the PB&J is complete. The PB&J is done. The PB&J arrived fully formed from the mind of the universe and asked only that we have the wisdom to recognize it.
All right,
In the spirit of fairness, I will now give each competitor a moment to make their case before I professionally dismantle them in front of everyone. Penicillin. Alexander Fleming, 1928, discovered mold that kills bacteria and saved hundreds of millions of lives, and transformed modern medicine into a discipline capable of treating infections that had been killing humans since the dawn of time. A tremendous achievement, a genuine miracle of science. And yet, penicillin requires a doctor, a prescription, a pharmacy, a syringe or a pill, a medical system, insurance, probably a copay, and at least one phone call that will leave you on hold for 40 minutes listening to the same 45-second loop of smooth jazz. The PB&J requires bread, peanut butter, jelly, and a knife. Or a spoon if you're a savage like me. The PB&J is more accessible than penicillin by every metric. I'm not saying the PB&J cures infection. I'm saying that it is faster, cheaper, and more universally available, and that when you are sick and miserable and the world feels impossible, it is the PB&J you reach for, not the amoxicillin. The soul knows things the body doesn't. The wheel. The wheel moved things. The PB&J nourishes people. Movement is logistically useful. Nourishment is existentially necessary. I will do this math for you. Necessary beats useful. The wheel loses. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. Electricity. This one feels almost unfair to bring up because electricity powers everything, including the refrigerator that keeps the jelly cold and the factory that processes the peanuts. So in a sense, electricity is a supporting actor in the PB&J story. But as a standalone invention, it has some serious problems. Electricity has electrocuted people. Electricity powers devices that have made humans anxious, sleep-deprived, and constitutionally unable to sit quietly in a room for 5 minutes. Electricity gave us the 24-hour news cycle. Electricity gave us the comment section. The PB&J has never given anyone a comment section. The PB&J has only ever given comfort. Electricity, net positive, but complicated. PB&J, net positive, not complicated at all. Winner? Obvious. The internet. I already know what you're thinking. You're thinking, the internet contains all of human knowledge and has connected 7 billion people in a global conversation and democratized information in ways that are transforming society. Yes, correct. The internet also gave us the ability to watch a video of a man confidently arguing that the earth is shaped like a Pringle, and then gave us 300 people who believed him. The internet radicalized your uncle. The internet keeps you awake at 2 a.m. scrolling with your mouth slightly open. The internet has never once made you feel the specific and irreplaceable feeling of biting into a PB&J after a long, hard day when you're too tired to cook and everything is too much. The internet cannot do what the PB&J does. The internet doesn't even know what the PB&J does. The PB&J doesn't need the internet. The internet, if it's honest, needs the PB&J.
I need to talk about sandwiches. Not because anyone asked, not because this is a particularly urgent crisis facing modern civilization, but because I have watched for years, silently, with increasing agitation, as perfectly intelligent adults have stood in front of perfectly good bread and made choices that I can only describe as a cry for help. There is one correct sandwich. There has always been one correct sandwich. The peanut butter and jelly sandwich has existed in its perfected form since approximately 1901, when the first recorded recipe appeared in the Boston Cooking School magazine, and some genius looked at 2 slices of bread, a jar of peanut butter, and a jar of jelly, and thought, yes, this, exactly this, nothing else, we are done here. And we should have been done there, but we weren't, because humans cannot leave well enough alone, because the same species that looked at the wheel and said, what if we made it square for a while just to see, looked at the peanut butter and jelly sandwich and said, what if we complicated it? What if we added heat? What if we added meat? What if we added 17 ingredients and called it culture? What if we took peanut butter, perfect, complete, already performing at peak civilization, and replaced the jelly with marshmallow fluff like some kind of unhinged dessert criminal? I am not angry. I am simply going to explain very carefully why every other sandwich on this list is wrong. And I am going to do it with the calm of someone who has eaten a peanut butter and jelly sandwich every single day for longer than some of these sandwiches have been relevant. Let's begin. The grilled cheese, a very talented support act that forgot its place. Let me start by saying something generous about the grilled cheese. It is good. It is genuinely, legitimately good. Warm, golden, buttery bread wrapped around a melted cheese that pulls apart in that specific way that makes people take pictures of it. The grilled cheese is a real achievement, and I respect it. Now let me explain why it is not even close to the PB&J, and why bringing it into this conversation was a mistake.
The grilled cheese requires a stove. Let that sink in. A stove, heat, a pan, butter, time, attention, the constant vigilance of someone who has been burned before, literally, by a pan, because they got distracted for 45 seconds and came back to a situation. The PB&J requires a knife and 2 minutes of your life. That's it. No heat, no pan, no butter, no standing over anything, monitoring its progress like it's a souffle with emotional needs. You open 2 jars, you spread 2 things, you put 2 pieces of bread together, and you have produced the greatest sandwich in human history in the time it takes the grilled cheese to finish deciding what temperature it wants to be. And here's the deeper problem with the grilled cheese. It has no identity without cheese. Take away the cheese and you have buttered toast, which is a different conversation entirely. The grilled cheese is entirely dependent on its one ingredient performing perfectly every single time. The wrong cheese and the whole thing collapses. Too much heat and you have bread-flavored regret. Not enough heat and you have a cold cheese sandwich, which is somehow worse than nothing. The PB&J has never once in its entire existence had an identity crisis. Peanut butter, jelly, bread. The formula has not changed in over 100 years because it does not need to change. It arrived correct and it has remained correct. The grilled cheese is comfort food. Lovely, warm, reliable comfort food that you make when it's raining and you're in your pajamas and you want something simple and good. The PB&J is not comfort food. The PB&J is infrastructure. It is the foundational unit of human lunch. It does not require weather or a mood or pajamas. It requires nothing from you except the willingness to eat it, which everyone has, because it is perfect. Grilled cheese, a 7 out of 10 that thinks it's a 10. PB&J, a 10 out of 10 that doesn't need your rating.
The Philly cheesesteak walked into this conversation like it owns the place. Thinly sliced ribeye, melted provolone or cheese whiz, depending on which camp you belong to, and by the way, that internal civil war alone should disqualify it. Sautéed onions, a hoagie roll so specific to its geographic origin that people in Philadelphia will tell you with complete sincerity and a level of regional pride usually reserved for sports championships that you cannot make a real cheesesteak outside of Philadelphia because the bread is different there and the bread matters. You know what doesn't care about geography? The PB&J. You know what you can make anywhere on Earth with ingredients available in virtually every country that has a grocery store or a jar of anything spreadable? The PB&J. The Philly cheesesteak is an event. It is a destination. It is a sandwich you plan around, travel for, and make a decision about before you even leave the house. You do not casually produce a Philly cheesesteak. You commit to it. You acquire the right beef, the right roll, the right cheese situation, and you dedicate real time and real money to the process of making it happen. The PB&J is available in 11 seconds at any hour of the day or night with ingredients that cost approximately $4 total and last for weeks in your pantry without requiring refrigeration, preparation, or any culinary skill beyond the ability to spread things on other things. I am not saying the cheesesteak is bad. I am saying the cheesesteak is complicated in ways that reveal its fundamental limitations as a sandwich for all people at all times in all situations. The PB&J has fed children who are too young to operate a stove. It has fed adults who are too tired to operate a stove. It has fed people in dorm rooms with no stove. It has fed hikers on mountains. It has crossed oceans in lunchboxes. It has been eaten in cars, in offices, in classrooms, on park benches, at desks, in beds at 2 a.m. by people who did not want to make a decision but needed to eat something. The Philly cheesesteak cannot do any of those things. The Philly cheesesteak requires infrastructure. The Philly cheesesteak requires you to have your life together enough to source and cook thinly sliced beef on a weeknight. The PB&J requires only that you exist near a kitchen and have the most basic will to feed yourself. Accessibility is not a small point. Accessibility is the whole point. The greatest sandwich in human history should be available to the greatest number of humans in the greatest number of circumstances. The Philly cheesesteak is a luxury. The PB&J is a right. Philly cheesesteak, a legitimate 9 out of 10 sandwich competing in the wrong category entirely. PB&J, still 10 out of 10, available right now, requires nothing from you.
Oh, baloney. We need to address bologna and cheese. Bologna is a processed meat product of genuinely mysterious origin whose defining characteristic as a sandwich ingredient is that it is cheap, available, and requires absolutely no effort to prepare beyond removing it from a package and placing it between bread. In this sense, and only in this sense, it shares a quality with the PB&J. It is accessible. It is simple. It requires nothing from you. But here is where bologna and the PB&J diverge in a way that I think is actually quite profound if you're willing to follow me here for a second. The PBJ is simple because it doesn't need to be complicated. Every ingredient is performing at its peak and its simplest form. Peanut butter is doing exactly what peanut butter was born to do. Jelly is doing exactly what jelly was born to do. The bread is providing the structural integrity that bread has been providing since ancient Egypt, and it is doing a fine job of it. Bologna is simple because nobody has figured out how to make it better, and at some point everyone quietly agreed to stop trying. The cheese in the bologna and cheese sandwich is doing its absolute best to save the situation, and it cannot. It is one ingredient carrying the entire emotional weight of a sandwich that gave up on itself before it even started. The cheese arrives with ambition and leaves with regret. And yet, the bologna and cheese persists. It is in lunchboxes, it is in diners, it is in the refrigerators of people who bought it with the specific, resigned energy of someone who needed something for sandwiches this week and made a decision they knew they would not be proud of. Nobody is proud of a bologna and cheese. Nobody posts a picture of their bologna and cheese. Nobody describes their lunch to a coworker and watches their coworker's face light up at the mention of bologna. The bologna and cheese is eaten in private, without ceremony, and forgotten immediately by all parties, including the person who ate it. The PBJ is described with enthusiasm. The PBJ is defended in conversations like this one. The PBJ inspires a loyalty in its adherents that no other sandwich has ever come close to matching, because the PBJ earns that loyalty by being genuinely, consistently, reliably excellent every single time, in a way that bologna has never once managed in its entire undistinguished existence. Bologna and cheese, a 4 out of 10 that peaked in 1975 and hasn't updated its resume since. PBJ, 10 out of 10, no apologies, no regrets.
Now let us talk about PB and fluff. I want to be careful here because I understand that the PB and fluff, the fluffernutter as its defenders call it, has a passionate following in certain parts of New England, and I have no interest in attacking anyone's regional identity or childhood memories. Actually, no, I take that back. I have every interest in this. The fluffernutter takes peanut butter, a food that has already found its perfect partner in jelly, a partner it has been committed to for over 100 years, a partnership so solid it has its own abbreviation, and replaces the jelly with marshmallow fluff. Marshmallow fluff, a substance whose primary identity is as a dessert topping, a substance that belongs on a hot chocolate or inside a Rice Krispie treat or on the end of a stick held over a campfire, not in a sandwich. A sandwich is a meal. A sandwich is lunch. A sandwich is the thing you eat when you need sustenance to continue existing as a functional human being through the afternoon. The fluffernutter is what happens when someone with no respect for the institution of lunch decided that dessert and a meal should occupy the same bread and that nobody would notice. People noticed. The sweetness level of a fluffernutter is not a lunch sweetness level. It is a birthday party sweetness level. It is a I am 8 years old and my parents aren't home sweetness level. It is a sweetness that peaks at about the 3rd bite, and by the 5th bite, you are doing the math on how much water you need to drink to restore yourself to a functional human being. The PBJ is sweet in a measured, responsible, adult way. The jelly brings sweetness as a complement to the peanut butter, not as a competitor to it. The jelly knows its role. The jelly is there to balance, to brighten, to give the peanut butter something to play off of in a way that makes both of them better. The fluff does not know its role. The fluff has never known its role. The fluff arrived at this sandwich without an invitation and has been sitting in the corner making everything too sweet since 1917, when it was first invented and someone looked at it and thought, I should put this in a sandwich, instead of accepting that it is a condiment for other desserts and not a lunch ingredient. That person was wrong. They have always been wrong. And the fluffernutter's persistent existence is one of the minor tragedies of American sandwich culture that I have decided to address directly and without apology. PB and fluff, a 3 out of 10. Dessert pretending to be lunch, peanut butter's most embarrassing association. PBJ, 10 out of 10. Always was, always will be.
PB and banana, Elvis's sandwich, and why Elvis was wrong about this one thing. I respect Elvis Presley. I want to be very clear about that before I explain why his signature sandwich contribution is a fascinating curiosity that should remain a historical footnote rather than a serious contender for sandwich greatness. The peanut butter and banana sandwich, sometimes grilled, sometimes with bacon, always associated with a man who understood excess in a way most of us never will, is the sandwich of someone who looked at the PBJ and thought, I want this, but more.
I want the peanut butter, but I want to replace the jelly with a fruit that requires me to have a banana at exactly the right stage of ripeness, because an underripe banana in a sandwich is a disappointment, and an overripe banana in a sandwich is a different conversation that I am not prepared to have. The banana problem is real, and nobody talks about it enough. The window of perfect banana ripeness for a sandwich application is approximately 36 hours. Too green and the banana is starchy and hard and brings a bitterness that fights with the peanut butter instead of joining it. Too ripe and the banana is soft and sweet in a way that starts to approach the fluffernutter situation we just discussed, and we have already established where that leads. Jelly does not have a ripeness window. Jelly is preserved. Jelly is ready. Jelly is sitting in your refrigerator at exactly the same level of perfect sweetness it was at when you opened it, and it will be at that same level tomorrow and next week and in 3 months when you finally finish the jar. Jelly is reliable in a way that the banana simply is not, and reliability is one of the core virtues of a great sandwich. You should be able to decide you want this sandwich and produce this sandwich without having to assess the current state of a piece of fruit and make a judgment call about whether today is the day or whether you need to give it another 24 hours. The PB&J has never made you wait 24 hours. The PB&J is ready when you are, always, without condition. Elvis was a genius. Elvis was also a man who put bacon in everything and deep-fried things that did not need to be deep-fried and lived his life at an intensity that most sandwiches simply cannot sustain. The PB and banana is a great sandwich for someone living at Elvis-level intensity. For the rest of us who are just trying to get through a Tuesday, the PB&J is the correct choice, and it has always been the correct choice. PB and banana, a 6 out of 10, only works if the banana cooperates, which it often does not. PB&J, 10 out of 10, no ripeness assessment required, available immediately, no sequence necessary. The verdict, what the PB&J has that nothing else does. Let me tell you what actually separates the peanut butter and jelly sandwich from every other sandwich on this list. Not just the convenience, not just the accessibility, not just the fact that it requires no heat, no special ingredients, no geographic pilgrimage, no ripeness window, no Monday to Thursday refrigeration anxiety.
This is what it is. The grilled cheese is comfort. The cheesesteak is an event. The bologna and cheese is a resignation. The fluffernutter is a mistake. The PB and banana is a ripeness gamble. The PB&J is lunch. It has always been lunch. It will always be lunch. And if you have somehow arrived at the end of my rant and still unconvinced, I want you to go make one right now. Right now. 2 pieces of bread, peanut butter on one side, jelly on the other. Together. Eat it. And then come back and tell me I'm wrong. There is nothing on this earth better than a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Well, almost nothing. A toasted PB&J on a late Saturday night? Are we being serious? That's not a sandwich anymore. That's an epic event for the taste buds. That's the universe telling you that you made one of the world's guaranteed pleasures in less than 2 minutes. The warmth, the slight crunch, the way the peanut butter gets just soft enough to meet the jelly halfway. Okay, I'm done. I'm starting to get hungry. Do me a favor, subscribe to the channel and let me know your thoughts on peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Over and out.